Where's north from here?
Alright trainers, I'm some northern guy. Now this video is a response to a video that Birdkeeper Toby did way back in February, so quite a little while ago now. In that video, he explained what he would do if he was Pokemon League champion, so what his team would be, what the Pokemon League would be like, what his Elite Four would be, and what Pokemon they would use. Then at the end of the video, he challenged anyone who watched it to either leave a comment saying what they'd do, or make a video. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Now this was something I was going to do at some point anyway, but I saw Birdkeeper Toby's video and thought, hey, I might as well do it in the same format he did. It's a really cool video, so if you haven't seen that one yet, go and watch his video first. I'll leave a link to it in the description, then come on back and see what I'd do. Now the other day I did a video explaining what my gym would be like if I was a gym leader. So for the purposes of this video, any of those Pokemon I used on my gym team are not going to be in my champion team. And yes, that includes Infernape. He's my favourite Pokemon, he's my channel mascot, but I kind of want to keep it a little bit more fresh. Besides, if I was a champion, there is a Pokemon I'd use over Infernape any day of the week, but we'll get to that later. So first of all, we need a theme for my Pokemon League. Now if you haven't realised by now, I am pretty damn British. I come from the northwest of England, but I currently live on the south coast of England. And because of that, I get a lot of jokes and a lot of comments made about being northern. And that's where the name Some Northern Guy came from. I started it when I was at uni as a bit of a joke. I use the Union Jack in the intro to my videos, and if I do say so myself, I am pretty stereotypical of the northwest of England. I love a good cuppa, I love pies, I'm pretty fat, and I love to complain. So I'd want to base my Pokemon League and my Elite Four around Great Britain, and the Elite Four members would represent England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Now I'm a fan of the older days of the Pokemon League where it was a linear path and you fought each member in succession, not do it in any order. And each member would get harder and harder as you progressed. So my league would be like that, and the order you'd face them in is the order I just said. England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. My Elite Four members would also have 5 Pokemon each. It kind of bugs me when they have 4. In my eyes, gym leaders should have no more than 4, Elite Four members should have 5, and only the champion should have 6. And as for the actual physical design of the Pokemon League, it would be in a giant clock tower that looks a lot like Big Ben. Pretty bloody British, tally-ho, what? So the first Elite Four member represents England, and to do this, the type I've given them is Steel. Couple of reasons for this. The first one is because I love the whole idea of Industrial Revolution Victorian Britain with, you know, the smokestacks and the iron and the steam trains, and it's just raw power and just an unforgiving time. The main reason is because of medieval knights. Now I'm not great on history, but when you see like medieval knights, i.e. the likes of King Arthur, Lancelot, all the mythical stuff about Camelot and all that jazz, they've all got pretty stereotypical British accents when you see them in other media. I think actual Camelot Castle was said to be in South Wales or something like that, and its origins are from France or whatever, I don't even know. But my point is, when you think King Arthur and all that stuff, at least in my mind, it's pretty damn British. There's also St. George, who's the patron saint of England, who is actually a Roman soldier, but is said to have slain a dragon, and that's pretty damn metal, so yeah, Steel type. And I can't think of anyone in the whole of Pokemon better suited to this than Wikstrom from the Kalos Elite Four. He's literally a knight, and he already uses Steel types. Wikstrom's chamber looks like a medieval castle. There's swords and shields and crests and all sorts lining the walls, and in the middle sits Wikstrom at the round table. When you enter, he stands and the table sinks into the ground to become the centre of the Pokeball on the battlefield. He introduces himself and welcomes you to the Elite Four. He then challenges you to draw your sword and prepare for battle as he sends out his Aegislash. For the rest of Wikstrom's team, I'm giving him Probopass and Scizor from his Kalos team, as well as Bastiodon, because it's like the iron gates to a castle or a big ass shield, and Skarmory because it's my favourite Steel type, and his Scizor can also Mega Evolve. Once you defeat Wikstrom, he takes a knee in front of you as a sign of respect and commends you on your victory. At the back of his chamber is an elevator which takes you up to the next level of the clock tower. Next up is Ireland, and for this I've chosen the Fairy type, and that's because Irish folklore has a lot to do with like sprites and pixies and of course the leprechaun and things like that, so I think Fairy fits pretty well. As you walk into the chamber, you soon realise it's set out like an old Irish pub. with green banners along the walls to celebrate Ireland and old oak wooden furniture everywhere. There's even the sounds of an Irish band echoing throughout the hall. And in the centre of the room, a young girl is merrily dancing and twirling to the sounds of the band. But once she notices you, she stops with a look of embarrassment and shock on her face. But when she realises you're a challenger, that then turns to a look of pure determination. Who is this young girl? It's none other than Lily. At the end of Sun and Moon, Lily goes off to the Kanto region. But I'm taking it a little step further. I'm saying that after Kanto, she went to Johto for a little bit and then ended up in my region. On those travels, she's become really strong and she's discovered she's got a knack for battling. So much so that she was offered a place on my Elite Four. Lily explains all of this to you and your battle begins. For Lily's team, I've given a fairy type Pokemon from the 3 regions that I think she would have gone to. She's got Clefable and Wigglytuff from Kanto, Granbull from Johto, and Mimikyu and Alolan Ninetales from Alola. And I wanted to give her Alolan Ninetales because in the Sun and Moon anime, her first Pokemon is an Alolan Vulpix. And Lily wasn't kidding, she's really strong and gives you a good run for your money. Once you defeat her, she looks really disappointed, but soon smiles and congratulates you on your victory. She reminisces about how the champion helped to overcome her fears when they travelled around Alola together, and sends you on your way to the next chamber. You ride the elevator up and prepare to face Scotland. Now I'll admit I had a pretty tough time coming up with a type for Scotland, but in the end I settled on normal. I settled on normal because I wanted to take inspiration from the Scottish Highlands, so I looked into what types of animals you could find there or that you might expect to see there. And a lot of those animals have Pokemon equivalents that are normal types. This chamber has steep, rocky hills around the edges that meet in the middle as a valley, and that's where your battle is taking place. Stood in this valley is a young hiker in his mid-20s. You can't quite put your finger on it, but he seems kind of familiar. His clothes are all torn, he's covered in scratches, and he's got a faint scar across his cheek. As you approach him, he smiles and welcomes you to his chamber. He explains that he's from the Johto region, and when he was old enough, he travelled around the world getting stronger and stronger and building up a powerful Pokemon team. He eventually ended up in this region, where he found himself in the Scottish Highlands, or at least this region's equivalent of that. The harsh landscape was both beautiful and the perfect place to train, so he made it his home. He looks at you with fire in his eyes and tells you to prepare for the top percentage. Yep, this guy is an older version of youngster Joey. Joey has gotten a lot stronger in the last 18 years, and his team might not seem that threatening at first, but my goodness, is this a tough battle. The team I've given him is Stantler, Ursaring, Bouffalont, Stoutland, and of course, his signature Raticate, the very same one from the Johto region. Joey is really tough, but you eventually get him down to just his Raticate. And when he sends it out, you smirk to yourself. This is going to be easy. It's a Raticate. But what you're forgetting is that this Raticate is in the top percentage of Raticate. In fact, this is the most powerful Raticate in the whole world. Your overconfidence is your weakness, and Raticate desolates your team. You get caught so off guard, but Joey and his partner have been training together for the last 18 years. Their bond is so strong that Raticate's breakneck blitz Z move is devastating. It all comes down to Raticate versus your ace. One Pokemon left each. They clash, and you just come out on top. Joey gives out a hearty laugh and congratulates you for defeating him. He also thanks you for giving him such a good battle and helping him get stronger. He tells you that his aim is to get as strong as he possibly can, go back to Johto and become the Johto champion. Before you head on to the next chamber, he tells you that the next Elite Four member is also from Johto. So now you're riding the elevator up to the final chamber, which is Wales. Your heart is still pounding from that battle with Joey. You came so close to losing. You're frantically using revives and full restores and getting your team back up to full health. You step out the elevator and into a nice peaceful paddock. But suddenly fire explodes all around the edges of the room, blocking the door you just came through. There's no escaping now. You hear a fierce yet elegant roar, and a Dragonite descends from the ceiling with its trainer riding it. It's of course none other than Claire from Johto. Prepare yourself, she says sternly, pointing towards you, and Dragonite jumps forward, ready to battle. For the rest of Claire's team, I've given her Pokemon mostly from her Black and White 2 Pokemon World Tournament team. those being Druddigon, Altaria, and her signature Kingdra, but the ace of her team is Ampharos. Ampharos? That's not a dragon type. Well, it is, when it Mega Evolves, and that's exactly what Claire does. I thought it'd be a clever idea to give her Ampharos because the Ampharos line is based off of sheep, and Wales is famous for breeding and rearing sheep. So it starts off an electric type, but as soon as it hits the field, it Mega Evolves into a dragon type, so yeah, we'll get away with that. The battle with Claire is fierce. You've learnt your lesson from Joey, you don't underestimate her, and you tread lightly. You eventually defeat her, and Claire congratulates you on beating the Elite Four, but of course, there's one more mountain left to climb. The Pokemon League champion, me. You revive and heal your team on the elevator up to my chamber. Now we're at the very top of the clock tower, and the clock faces are surrounding us, the hands ticking round, counting down to your defeat. I congratulate you on getting this far and tell you to give it your all, to show me the strength of you and your Pokemon. Now my team doesn't have a set type or theme. It's actually made up of various Pokemon I've caught on my many journeys around the world. Your first opponent is Mamoswine, a Sinnoh native that I caught in Unova. Mamoswine sets up Stealth Rocks at the very start of the battle to wear down your team, and it hits like a freight train. But if you take it down, then your next opponent is Wishy Washy from my most recent journey in Alola. Your face drops as Wishy Washy's schooling ability activates and it transforms into its monstrous school form. Wishy Washy is a demon, it's got massive attack stats and massive defense stats, but you're able to take it down. After those two behemoths, we changed the pace a little bit with Manectric, who helped me on my journey in Hoenn. Manectric is quick, it runs rings around your team, zapping and shocking you every chance it gets. But you defeat Manectric, fair play to you, 3 down, 3 to go. Your next opponent is Dragonite. I got Dragonite as a Dratini after defeating Claire in the Johto region, and it helped me defeat Red, arguably the best Pokemon trainer of all time. Dragonite is a fast physical attacker, and now your team's really starting to get tired, but Dragonite goes down. Next is a Pokemon you've already seen on this Elite Four challenge, but if you thought Wickstrom's Aegislash was strong, you haven't seen nothing yet. With a whopping 12 resistances and immunities, Aegislash really puts you through your paces. Its stance change ability messes with your mind. I love some good mind games in Pokemon battles. But with Aegislash down, you have one Pokemon left to beat. Now as I said earlier, this isn't Infernape. Infernape is my favourite Pokemon. But what kind of champion would I be if I didn't use the very first Pokemon I got back in Kanto when I started my journey? The final Pokemon you have to beat, my ace in the hole, is Charizard. Not just any Charizard though, because I Mega Evolve it into Mega Charizard Y. If you defeat all 6 of those Pokemon, then I lose, and you become the new Pokemon League champion of Britain. But it won't be easy, you better bring your A game. And that's it. That's what it would be like if I was the Pokemon League champion. Hopefully you like my idea for a Pokemon League, and if you do, let me know in the comment section below. And please go and watch Birdkeeper Toby's video. I took a lot of inspiration from his video for this one. I mean, for a start, it's in response to him as he challenged anyone who watched that video to do their own. But also I love the way he tells a story of progressing through the league, and that's what I wanted to try and do for the format, to explain what my league would be, because I think that works well. And this was by no means an attempt to try and copy him. I just thought telling the story of progressing through my Pokemon League like that would be a lot of fun, and it really was. So go and watch his video and subscribe to him as well, he's a brilliant PokeTuber. But back in the here and now, if you liked this video, then hit the thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down, please feel free. And if you want to see more stuff from me, then hit the subscribe button. I've been Some Northern Guy, and I'll see you all in the next video, but in the meantime, have a great week. Bye bye!